All right, good morning. Today we are covering organizational skills, organizational tools, how to stay organized in a disorganized world, which is really real estate by definition. And I think this is probably one of our most powerful training topics because real estate in general is not difficult, but it can be complicated just because there are so many things you have to keep track of. And it's made more difficult because failing to keep track of those things can be catastrophic for your clients, for yourself, can be financially devastating. So you really have to kind of keep tabs on things very well. And if you're getting older like I am, it gets harder and harder as you get older. So you need more and more tools to do that. And I'm kind of an organized or organizational nut to begin with. So I started adopting tools many years ago and have expanded on them and have played with a lot of different versions and seen them fail. And I've kind of landed on a system that works very well for me. And just to give you the perspective of why this is worth listening to, I sell a lot of houses. And I also manage a firm of nearly 100 people. So I have a lot of stuff that I have to track and keep tabs on and make sure that I don't lose sight of. And so these are the systems that I use to do that. So good morning, Ashley. You're just in time. We're just getting rolling here. That's all right. So what we're going to cover today, we're going to cover a system for calendaring appointments and tracking other activities, email system, foldering systems. That means on your hard drive. We're going to talk a little bit about different technologies, and then we're going to talk about some what I call organizational props that I use. And then V4 we'll touch on at the end because the CRM is a huge sort of foundational piece of being organized and staying on top of your pipeline. But that's going to be its own training. So we won't do much of a detailed analysis of V4, but we'll finish with some thoughts about it. So the first thing that you kind of want to always keep in mind is whatever system you use, whether you adopt some of the stuff that I do, whether you have your own systems that you're already using, you got to use it, right? I used to teach a budgeting class for Habitat for Humanity families, and we talked about tracking finances. And you'd get all kinds in these trainings, people that like to use Microsoft Money and Quicken and some of those software-based tools. And what I would tell people is, I don't care if you're using an expensive technology or a yellow pad of paper, but use something. Track what you're doing, right? So listen and learn about these different tools and then decide which ones suit you and then sort of immerse yourself in them. And really, you got to build habits. And remember, it takes 3 weeks to create a habit. It only takes 3 days to lose it. So if you do adopt some of these systems that I'm going to show you today, give yourself, the better part of August to really kind of embrace them and work through them and get comfortable with them. So, but what I'm going to show you is what I use. All right. So, calendaring, I am going to just show you my calendar. All right. And I use Google Calendaring because it syncs with my phone. It's visible to the inside sales staff and my wife and anybody else, and I can book appointments for myself. I can book appointments with you, Ron, and it'll show up in both our calendars. It's just a very powerful calendar system, and the fact that it syncs with my phone allows me to set reminders, so my phone will buzz at me when I have something. But what I want you to first notice is that I use time blocking, all right? So you guys know that I'm in here for success hours every morning from 9 to 11, except for Thursdays. And that's true every week. So watch what happens when I click into the future weeks. Many of these appointments are recurring, right? So when I want to have there's a lunchtime mastermind. And look, when I go 4 weeks into the future, there's another lunchtime mastermind. So you can set up your time blocking and make it recur and set it so that it buzzes at you when that time arrives. And so for you guys, if you're newer with Miller Lane, I would have a time block for training. I would have a time block for watching V4 videos and getting my Foundation for Success training under my belt. And then when those 12 weeks were over, I would insert success hours, right? And I would just continually train. I tell people all the time when I give the listing presentation, there's a slide about how many hours of training we do. And I tell them, I'm a pretty skilled salesman, but I'm not perfect. And for that reason, I train every day. And I anticipate that I will continue to do so for the rest of my career because I'll never get to perfection, right? But I should always aspire to it. And so I practice my skill. Make sense? So when you set up your Google calendaring, you can also pull into it the training calendar. Oh, wrong one. Down here. So if I just type training at millerlane.com, it'll show up, and I can add that to my calendars by clicking on it, right? And you can see I've already done it. It's right here. So if I do that and then click on it, I can unclick Ed Lane. All the training shows up in my calendar. So you can add the training blocks to your calendar by simply adding training at millerlane.com to your group of calendars. Makes it pretty easy. This also allows you, if you wanted to schedule something with me or look at Nolan's schedule or somebody because you wanted to try and set up a lunch, you can look at other people's calendars that way. That's one of the benefits of Gmail. All right. So any questions on calendaring?
Can you do that
You can do it on Outlook. You just can't. You can't see my calendar on Outlook.
Okay.
You could invite me to your calendar event, but you couldn't see my calendar. But because we're all on the Miller Lane domain, you can see everybody's calendar within the company. Sure. Well, no, if you want to put, let's say you have to go to a doctor's appointment you don't want people to know about, just put busy. Don't put what it is, because I will see what it is.
How could the Miller Lane domain have the other person to see your calendar?
That's how it's Gmail set it up.
Can you see somebody's calendar from here?
Sure. Who do you want to see? There's no one. Look, there's. Just put dentist. I mean, unless you're going to see your gynecologist, I don't really care that you have a doctor's appointment. Right. But you see, I can look in Nolan's calendar. And then when I'm tired of looking at Nolan's calendar, I switch back to mine. Or if I want to see when do Nolan and I both have an opening, I can see it. Right? Yeah, because that's his calendar. But if he's looking to set up a one-on-one with me, he would just look at both of our calendars and go, okay. Yeah, I can add anybody I want. Right. That's right. Right.
Perfect.
Now I want you to see. I'm going to show you how I use Evernote as really a foundational tool for my business. But just the calendaring piece, I want to show you how I use it. All right. So this is Evernote. All right. Evernote is the little elephant icon that you can see down here. Yeah. So Evernote is like Dropbox on steroids. It's a cloud-based place to store things, and it helps me stay organized. So let me show you how I use it to stay organized. We'll come back to this top section in a minute, but I want to show you the 30s. Look at the folders that start with 30 are all tied to my calendar. So if I want to put something on the agenda for the next operations meeting, I can put a note into here. And then when I go to the operations meeting, I just open up that folder and I have all the notes. Does that make sense? So let's say I'm driving down the road and I go, you know what, the next time Scott and I sit down, I want to make sure I talk to him about opening a new space in Linwood or wherever, right? I can open Evernote on my phone and I can go to the partner meeting notebook and I can add a new note and go, sure, I can dictate to it. Yeah. And it automatically syncs. And then the next time I open Evernote, it will automatically sync. And then the note will show up in there.
It's only Android phone, right? It's not.
Only what?
Android?
Android? No, this is an iPhone. It works on both Android and iPhone. It's an app. Yep. And it works on my iPad too.
But Windows Phone won't work.
I have no idea. Right? But here's Evernote. Evernote. I didn't ask you. Here's Evernote on my iPad, right? So all three of them sync. I use this, and I'll cover this in a minute, but I use my iPad in listing presentations. It syncs, so I can find notes. Yep. All right. So the only observation for Evernote right now is you can actually set Evernote up so that your calendaring is more meaningful. I just go from meeting to meeting and I open up the appropriate Evernote folder and it reminds me, oh yeah, I got to talk to Edgar, our accountant, about fill in the blank. I got to talk to Miller about fill in the blank. Make sense?
What is it? I mean, Evernote is.
Don't worry, I'm going to cover Evernote in greater detail.
Yeah,
all I'm doing is showing you how it can help you with your calendar. Okay? All right. Email. All right. So if you're like me, email can be brutal. So the first thing I do with email is I set up Google Mail so that only the unread messages show up on top and anything else I can search for. And searching Google Mail is really easy. If I want to find every email that Ron Prawl has ever sent to me, I can just type from : and then your email address or anyone else's, and it'll distill it down, even if it's from 2014, right? No, if you delete them, it'll find them in the delete folder, but if you clear out the deleted folder, they're gone. All right. So the other thing that I use with email is an app called PowerBot. PowerBot. And I'm going to come back to that because the only reason I use it is for Evernote. So I'm going to describe that when I'm really talking about Evernote in detail. Okay. One thing I will show you though in email that I use a ton are canned responses. So Outlook has a tool called signatures, right? You can create a signature that ends up at the bottom of every email. You can actually create many signatures. And if you right click on them in Outlook, it'll bring up a menu and you can switch signatures. I used to use that a ton, but then I needed to switch to Gmail because Gmail had more power and more versatility and Outlook was limited. You can only have a PST file of up to like 2 gigs or else it starts malfunctioning. And my PST file was 65 gigabytes. So I was like, okay, time to get off of Outlook. But email rolled out a thing called canned responses. So if I click on this little down arrow right here, there's canned responses. And just look at some of my boilerplate emails, right? Email of introduction to Adrian Webb of RPM Mortgage. Every canned response uses the subject line of the email as the title of the canned response. So I just write the subject line in a way that it jogs my memory of what it is. So like, let's say, you guys know how I do a Northwest Market update video every month, right? No? All right, sweet. Here's the Northwest Market update for August 2016, courtesy of Ed Lane, Miller Lane Properties. Good afternoon. I hope you're getting unseasonably nice weather like we are here in blah, 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 blah. And then I just paste in the YouTube link. If I wanted to do a new referral to Adrian, Amber and Eric meet Adrian. Adrian meet Amber and Eric. Adrian, we're in the process of finding Amber and Eric the perfect home. Blah, 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 blah. If I wanted to do success hours schedule, hey, please come and join me on the above topic, because that subject line actually says success hours topic for Tuesday, October, whatever, hyphen, and then nothing else. And I would put what the topic is right there. Right? So this just makes me way more efficient. And any email that I write that I can anticipate writing a second time, I save it. You know what? I just found out it's not unlimited because they're starting to fall off the end. So it's about 25 or 30.
How can you create one?
So I would write an email, right? Mm-hmm. And then I go in here to canned responses. Oh, and I would write the subject line. I would go in here to canned responses. Mm-hmm. And go down to new canned response, and it would say, do you want to save it as blah blah? And you can delete it. Yep, I can delete them. I can rewrite them. You can rewrite it. Right. So
you click it and then you rewrite it and then you save it.
Yep. Super handy dandy and makes me more efficient. All right. All right, so that's emailing. Foldering. All right, so a lot of people have asked me how I keep my hard drive organized. And the first thing that I do is I don't save anything on my hard drive. Yeah. I've had too many problems with hard drives. Too many problems with failed backups. The last one, I backed everything up because I was getting this computer and got a new computer and imported everything, and it said, here's all your stuff. And it was May 2013 and backwards. So I had nothing from May 2013 to January of 2016, and I thought I was going to commit suicide. So it was at that point that I just switched to having everything on Dropbox. So I use Dropbox as my hard drive. Dropbox is a cloud-based storage system, and you have been invited to Dropbox because the moment you joined our firm, we invited you so that you would have access to this folder right here, MLP Photos, so that you can look at every house whenever you want and show it to your investors and so on.
So that is our listing, right?
Yep. Yep. So MLP Photos, this folder in Dropbox, is available to everybody. And those of us that shoot photos of new listings, we put them in there every time. So like, here's one that I was just in on the 17th. So I shot these photos and I was disgusted inside this house. 140 yards of, look at, those are dead flies. But, yeah. So now how would you use Dropbox besides the MLP photo folder is you just create a folder for buyers and a folder for sellers. And within those folders, you have Jones and Smith and Johnson and whatever, right? So let me just show you how I've got some of them organized. I have a subfolder called referrals because I get inbound referrals from agents and other resources. So Dave Ramsey sends me a referral. These are referral people. Sold her a house, sold them a house, sold them a house, sold them a house. Still looking to list his, still looking to list theirs. But if I go in, so this is the thing you want to retain is folder by the person's name, right? Within the folder, look, I have 3 subfolders within Lasky. That means we wrote 3 offers, right? If I go into this top one, this is the one they bought, and so there's a lot more documents in this one than there was in the other 2, and that's because we got offer submitted, we got ratified, we did an inspection, there was an inspection response, earnest money deposit receipt, all that stuff. But one thing you'll notice is I use a consistent naming convention, right? So naming convention is just a method of naming files. And my naming convention is what it is, followed by the name of the client, followed by the address, followed by the date. What it is first, yeah. So these ones that say Lasky first, that I didn't follow my own process.
Mm-hmm.
But so what it is, this is an inspection response, right? Customer name, and then address. So let me open up this. So this one is called offer cover letter, Lasky, that's their last name, and then the address. This doesn't need a date because it's not time specific. If this was a mutually accepted contract, then I would put the mutual date at the end so that at a glance I could see, oh yeah, we went mutual on the 21st or whatever. Now watch what happens.
When you say that there's not mutual yet, but you will add it once it is mutual.
Well, the first file is just going to be offer. Once it gets, then it could be counter offer number 2, number 3, number 4. Mutual is its own file and it's a signed around agreement because I'm never really going to go back to grab those offers and counter offers, but I may frequently grab the mutual because escrow wants it, because the buyer is entitled to it. They may lose it and ask for it again or whatever. So that's what I do. And if you name it that way, whatever the first thing is that you put in the folder, then naming the next thing you put in the folder is easy because you literally click on the file name that's already in the folder. That just wrote the address and the buyer's name, and you just change the front end and the date. Oh, this is now a counteroffer, and it's May 22nd, right? And so, we'll do that in a little bit when I show you the PowerBot and some of the Evernote stuff. But that's like,
and easier to search.
Yeah. Because then you just go, like this file right here. This is a signed listing agreement that I signed at 9 o'clock last night, right? So if I just hit the letter K, because their name is KA, it goes straight to them, right? If it was Kildall, I would just have to move down a little bit. But now, the only thing that was in there is the property profile, because when I did the CMA, I printed that, right? Now I got signed listing agreement and a bunch of other stuff. But if I'm doing a save as, right, it would open up this window, and then I could just click on that, and it would retype the name of the file down here, right? Let me show you what I mean, just so that it's crystal clear and it's on the video. So here's a scan, right? From my meeting last night, I came in this morning and scanned all this stuff. So this is the listing agreement. So I can download the listing agreement, right? The big scanner back there, your name is already on it, and you just hit the button for yourself, and it'll scan it to you. So now watch, I go File, Save As, and I thought it would show me Camion in a recent, but it didn't. So I'm going to go into Dropbox. I'm going to hit the letter K. There's Camion. So watch, I'm just going to click on that and change it to listing agreement, right? And I'm going to change the date to the date the listing agreement was signed. And now the listing agreement is in Dropbox and labeled correctly. And that was easy, right? And I can even, if I'm saving a Word doc, I can still click on a PDF file. I just have to remember to change the file extension, that last 3 PDF. And I have to change that to DOC because it's a Word doc. Make sense?
Yeah.
So if I use that naming convention, then finding stuff is easy. I never have to open something to see if it's what I'm looking for. I can tell from the file name that it's what I need. And that's super handy when you're attaching stuff to emails and sending them places. Make sense?
Okay. How do I know what is the extension of the document?
You just pay attention.
No, I mean, if somebody says,
You just learn. You'll see it.
where is it?
Well, here,
So
right
I
there.
have the
See it?
questions, but I don't have the computer.
It's right there. .pdf. That tells you it's an Adobe file.
I know that. If I need to save the document, how do I know? Is the PDF or Doc or Excel or what?
Because it'll show you when you're
The receiving email.
right. So here's, it's always on the end. So like, let's go back to Lasky because you'll see there's.
No, those are the
Look at
names that you put there, right? I mean,
look at that's an Excel file. That's a Word file. That's a PDF.
and that
PDF.
file is you save it as the you put the PDF there when you save it.
Well, no, it's already there because I'm in Adobe. It defaults to that. But what I was saying is, if let's say this
like the email
this Word doc, right? Let's say I want to save this to Camion, that file we were just playing with, where I signed them last night. So I can change this so I can see the PDF files. Then I can click on it, right? And I can say, let's say this is their earnest money deposit receipt. And it's dated yesterday. I just have to change this back to DocX, right? Or I can take the extension off and just tell it, save it as a Word doc, and it'll add the DocX.
Like the file you just received from somebody, that like email.
Right.
You receive the email from somebody. How do you know it's a PDF? Or
You'll see it at the end of the attachment. Yep. That's all right. We can cover that in more detail if we need to another time. Yeah.
Thank you for empathy.
All right. So let's talk about Evernote. All right. I've used Evernote in literally all aspects of my life, personal, financial, business, for 3 or 4 years now. I've even taught my son how to use it to stay organized in college, and ironically, he doesn't do much with it, but his 3 buddies that were all there when I explained it have all adopted it, and now the ATO house at Wazoo, everybody uses Evernote because I taught one guy who's an ATO, and he took it back to their fraternity. Because I told him, I said, when I was in college, I wish I had this, because I could have just created a folder for biology, for, trigonometry, for whatever, for my fraternity, for my water polo team, for whatever. And I would just have a centralized place that I could access on any tablet, iPhone or PC, and I would be just more organized, right? So here's how I use it to stay organized in my business. First thing I did was I preceded all folder names with a number. And that's the way within Evernote to make folders stack in the order you want them stacked, right? So 00 is the folder I work in the most, so it's at the top. From there, customers start as prospects. They don't move into the buyer or seller folders until they've signed an agreement. They are not a buyer of mine or a seller of mine until they've signed an agreement to work with me, right? From there, they move under contract and then to closed. And then I have a post-closing technique that I follow, or a checklist that I follow to make sure I take great care of them. So let's look at Camion, right? That's the one we just were talking about. They're the ones I met with at 9 p.m. last night, right? They're in the prospect folder because until 9 o'clock last night, they were not customers of mine. But I was able to get them to sign a listing agreement last night. So guess what they are now? They're a customer, right? So I can right click on this folder and I can move it. No, it didn't do it the way it's supposed to. So I'm going to just drag it. I can move it to seller, right? So now Camion is in the seller folder, right? And you can see in here a bunch of notes, right? Their address, the anticipated list price, recommended repairs and updates. I made notes about things to highlight in the listing. I did the top 3 questions, top 3 goals, top 3 things you need to complete before getting it sold. What do you expect from the real estate community? That is all straight out of our training, right? When you watch the videos on the VIP seller presentation, you're going to hear me and Scott talk about these questions. Those are the questions we ask at the beginning. Well, when I ask them, I'm using my iPad and I'm taking those notes into here, and they automatically came across over to my computer. Exactly. And I'm going to show you those too. But yeah, so let's cut to that right now, actually. If I go down here, like these are all elongated now, right? But if I go here to number 7, templates. So I have templates, just like I use canned responses in email, I use templates in Evernote. Anything that I'm going to do more than once, I'll create a checklist. So look at some of these names. New listing lead opt-in sequence. Listing going live for first name, last name, at address. Success hour agenda for Friday. Pre-QC review checklist. So this is when I review files to see if agents should get paid or if the DOL is going to crawl up my skirt for not having a compliant folder, right, or file. New agents, partner meeting agenda. Scott and I meet every week, and I make sure I cover the same topics every week because we're moving the organization forward, and you have to track the little things, right? Post-closing template, right? Closing -3 days. Have the pre-closing call strategy session, review process, review needs, then on the closing date, then after the closing date. I even have the email in here for after they've closed. Subject line, I hope you're enjoying your new home. Hi, whomever. Just wanted to say congratulations again and again and again, right? I seem really thoughtful, but I'm really just pretty organized, right? Weekly tasks. So this is my to-do list every week. These are the top 3 things I'm going to do. So that's another aspect of calendaring, is I have a reminder every evening that says, hey, write tomorrow's top 3. Have you guys ever heard Charles Schwab's story? Do you know who Charles Schwab is, right? Yeah. Do you know what Charles Schwab, the individual, became famous for? It wasn't for being a broker. He was the president of U.S. Steel during the Industrial Revolution. That was a good job to have, right? And he became wealthy, and in his business branched into other channels. But he actually paid a guy, a consultant, to come in, and he said, I want you to look at my organization. I want you to make recommendations because I feel like we could be doing more. I feel like we're just not achieving like we could. So the consultant stayed and observed for like a couple months. And at the end, he came into Charles Schwab's office, and this is back in the early 1900s, so this is 100 years ago. And he said, I'm going to give you my advice, and I am not going to charge you for my advice. You follow my advice and then tell me later what you think it's worth. And Schwab was like, okay. Because basically Schwab could have said, yeah, it wasn't worth anything, right?
Yeah.
So his advice was what you and your top managers need to do every day at the end of the day is write down the top 3 things that you need to tackle the next morning. And then be ruthless in your pursuit of completing those things and avoiding all distractions until they're completed. That's what Monday through Friday has T1, T2, and T3 in it for that reason. And you know what Schwab did when he paid him? You know how much he paid him? He gave him $1 million. And that was in the early 1900s. That was a ton of money. But it changed their business for the better. So I was like, well, shoot, if Schwab can do it, how hard is it, right? And the reason it works is because when you go through a day working hard and maybe even stressing out a little bit, nothing is more clear in your head than what you didn't finish, what is yet to be done, right? So when you make a list at that time of day, it's actually very crystal clear and very important things that you write down that very easily get forgotten when you wake up the next morning. And it's not that they're any less significant. It's just you immediately start getting bombarded with texts and emails and phone calls and distractions, right? But because the night before I wrote down my top 3, I know I got to do this. I'm closing my door. I got to do this. Does that make sense? So these are very powerful templates. I even have one for my weekends. No, there's no boxes, nothing. This is, I start with a checkbox. Tell Ron he is going to be huge. And if I hit enter, it actually defaults to the box again. If I can do a number and a box, right? So that's how you create templates. And look at that, it already saved it. And I don't want. No, I'm gonna. Yeah, where's delete? Why is there no delete? Open up. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Did it say that? Move to trash?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, where's Ron?
Oh, Ron, it's going to be huge.
Move notes to trash. There you go. All right. You are our trash. All right. So what I do is I come in, let's say Ashley shoots me an email and says, hey, Ed, on Tuesday, can we cover staying organized? And I go, yeah, no problem. So what I'll do is I'll find the success hours for Tuesday. There's Monday, Wednesday. They're listed in the order they were last edited. So hang on, I can do this. Well, let's say it's Monday, right? I can right click, copy it to today, And now the template's still in this folder, but a copy of it is right here. And so I can go 8/1/2016, and we're going to cover organization for Ashley. And then when I come to success hours that day, I've already got an agenda brewing. All right. And Monday defaults with clients' first stories, that kind of stuff. Okay. So that's how I use templates. So the template that got me on this topic was when Ron asked about that listing appointment. So here it is, listing appointment checklist template. So it's got client name, address, top 3 goals, top 3 things you need to complete, the 3 W's. Is it that all the answers are blank? So look at this. If I go to new listing lead opt-in. This is a template, but it's a checklist, right? So add opt-in, make the initial call, appointment booked, send initial email. BombBomb is a video email. So I'll send an email. Hey, Ashley, it's Ed. I really enjoyed chatting with you today. I'm excited for us to be meeting on Thursday at 6 p.m. Consider this your confirmation. I'm looking forward to seeing your house. Something short, but it enhances the rapport building that is created because now you feel like you know me a little bit because you've seen what I look like. You've heard my voice, those sorts of things. Send a Starbucks card to the referring party. So if that lead came from a referral, I send them a $10 Starbucks card. Schedule follow-up call and calendar. Once booked, preparation. Create Evernote client folder in prospects. Grab presentation folder. Check battery level on iPad. Pull comps, print color picture CMA. Create Evernote listing appointment checklist template. Sync laptop, sync iPad. Post meeting, move prospect to seller in Evernote. Send video email, thank you to prospect. Add listing going live note. There's also a create shared box folder. So I just edited the template, but look it up here. Remember, we moved Camion over to seller, right? But down here, Camion shared docs. I can actually, in Evernote, share a folder to someone else who's not in Evernote, and I can share the listing agreement to the Camions using this folder. So I don't have to email them an attachment. I just put stuff in there, and they always have access. I got a call a month ago from a client I sold a house to a year and a half ago, maybe 2 now. And she said, I can't find my inspection report. Do you have a copy? And I said, of course. I go, do you remember the folder that I shared to you? I can share it to you again, or I can just email you the inspection, but it's in there. And she said, oh, no, I still have that. I said, great, go grab it. I didn't have to lift a finger. Now, if she had said, oh, I don't know where that link is, I would not have hesitated. No problem. I'll put it in your inbox. It'll be there in 2 minutes. Because I'm going to seem like I'm Johnny on the spot. But I'm doing it in a way that's hopefully making it easier for me to serve more people, right? All of this is designed to make it so that I don't have to really cherish that one deal because I can only handle one deal at a time. I can handle lots. Does that make sense? All right. So I mentioned earlier PowerBot. Do you remember that? All right. So I'm going to sync because I want to show you something. There's a little button right here that says sync. See up here? It's actually syncing to the cloud. So then when you open it on any of the other things, the first thing it'll do is sync. just when you open it new. So it's getting the most current data into whatever device you just opened Evernote on, right? They all work. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The app on the Android will be different than the app on your iPad, but the data will flow perfectly. You've asked that before. I didn't know the answer when you asked it the first time. I still don't know the answer. We don't need that on the recording. That's all right. I love that you love Windows phones. Oh, why are we even talking about it? Did I miss it? Where can we get access to the checklist you just showed? You didn't miss it, Marty. No one's asked for them, so I didn't offer them, but I can email them out to people. Are you guys not on audio or what? Ask your question out loud. I'd like it to be on the recording.
I have questions with folders versus notes.
Yes. What is your question?
Creating a folder system.
Well, it works the same way as Windows in that you have folders, and then within the folders you put notes. But here, instead of calling them folders, they call them notebooks. So all of these ones that are preceded by a number are notebooks. And then within the notebook, I can stack, they call it, more notebooks. All right, so you see these little numbers out here, 1, 3, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 1. That's how many notes are within that folder. So let's go back to the Camions. Right? So the Camions folder has the new list opt-in, right? And then I booked the appointment, and so then I did the listing appointment checklist. The next thing I'll do will be to add the listing going live template, because that's going to be my checklist for what are the things I need to do to be ready, right? Send the seller welcome to our team letter, complete property presentation report, order the right price promise, order staging if applicable, order photography, draft marketing remarks. I even have templated marketing remarks, draft agent only remarks. I even have templated agent only remarks, draft driving directions, flyer, order copies, blah, blah, blah. So I don't miss anything. This is the same checklist that Michelle works from, or a very similar one, to make sure when she takes a listing live that everything gets done correctly. Yeah, I'll email.
Can you just go through the steps to start?
So, wait, hang on one sec, Scott. So, listing opt-in, listing live. I'll send both those out. So anybody, Marty, this includes you, any checklist I show you, tell me which ones you want, and I'll send them all out at the same time when we're done. So far I got the new listing lead opt-in, this one, and the listing going live checklist.
You mean we can't basically ask for all of your templates?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, just send them all out.
Yeah, I'm not going to send them all because I have to send them individually, but I'll send the ones you guys want. I'll send the weekly task one. If you want the weekend task, so you remember to call your mom. Yeah, make your bed, mow the lawn. Okay, so let me show you a really cool plugin. You guys know what a plugin is? So Google and other browsers will allow you to add software to the browser itself that will work within the browser. So, for example, I have RoboForms. That's a plugin. RoboForms are all my passwords. Look how many passwords I have. Look at, and that's just P through Z. Yeah. And this syncs with my laptop and my iPad too. And it has a master password that nobody knows. And that's called RoboForms. Yeah. There's lots of password like banks or repositories, but I love RoboForms. You can even use RoboForms to fill in like if I go to a website to buy a pen and it takes you to the billing address, shipping address, RoboForms will autofill those for me. Let's type anything. ROBOF. So take the T out. Robo. All right. So one of the plugins is a plugin called PowerBot. PowerBot. And PowerBot is a link for Gmail that will link to Evernote, OneNote, or Dropbox. So for me, I use it with Evernote. All right. So here's how it works. Remember, I downloaded this listing agreement and I put it in my hard drive, right? Renamed it, used my naming convention. Now it's on my hard drive. Well, technically it's in Dropbox. But I also want to put it in the shared documents folder for my client, right? And I can import it from Dropbox when I'm in Evernote, but there's a shortcut. You see this little cloud? That's the PowerBot plugin. So if I click on that, it opens up this window and it says, oh, do you want to clip this to Dropbox, OneNote, or Evernote? Mine defaults to Evernote. I can rename it. Right? And then I can tell it what folder to put it in. So I don't want it in prospects anymore. I want it in sellers, right? Oh no, I didn't move the Camion folder. I don't think. Let's look. Yep, shared docs. That's where I want it to go. Clip to Evernote. And look, it's automatically putting it in that folder.
How'd you create a shared folder?
You just create it, and I just name it that. All right, so now that's in there. Now this is Camion's 22J. I can tell by the little icon, right? They don't need a copy of that, but I do. And so I'm going to put it in the Camion irregular folder, right? Because I want it to go into this folder here. Or is it that one? But I can sort and move stuff into Evernote so that it's forever remembered, right? I can use PowerBot the same way. Remember earlier I said I used those meeting folders. So if I get an email that is something I want to discuss with Scott, I can use PowerBot to move that into the partner meeting folder. Then when we get together, I always open the partner meeting folder because I got an agenda in there and I got any emails that came up during the week. That way I don't have to take a note somewhere. Ooh, I can't forget to bring that up. I don't have to. I just put it in the folder and forget about it until it's time. Does that all make sense? The power of this is your brain will constantly be running to try and make sure that it doesn't forget something. The minute you tell your brain, hey, that's in a place where I won't forget it, your brain will relax and you actually increase your productivity. Your brain is like a computer, like RAM. You ever notice how your computer slows down when you have too many things open? It's working the exact same way. So when you have a tool like this that is safe and secure and it allows you to never forget anything, then your brain is able to focus on more important stuff, because that really is a waste of time. I'll give you a great example. You can also put in notes and tag them. So I can put a tag like the word Costco. So let's say I'm driving around and I go, man, the next time I go to Costco, I got to restock up on beer. Or no, let's say Home Depot, right? I think of Home Depot stuff all the time. Next time I'm there, I got to remember to get fertilizer. And then another time, I think I'm out of, plumbing glue, or I'm at blah, blah, blah. I can just put a bunch of notes into Evernote. And then if I don't have a list, my brain is going to try and remember that. And hopefully it's going to remember it when I'm driving by Home Depot. But it's statistically unlikely. But instead, I go to Home Depot. I just type Home Depot into Evernote, and it pulls up all those notes. And it's my shopping list, even though I compiled it over a month at different times. Does that make sense? So there are other tools that do this sort of stuff, but I am a huge fan of Evernote, and it's worked very well for me. If you use it or want to learn more about it, there's a guy, Canadian guy, Steve Dotto, D-O-T-T-O, and he has a blog and a YouTube channel called Dotto Tech. Yeah, like this word right here, Dotto Tech. And he does videos on lots of different things, but does a ton on Evernote. I would consider him probably the world's expert on Evernote of the people that don't work there. And I've learned a ton watching his videos. So if you wanted to learn more about it, you're always welcome to ask me, but you can also watch his videos. All right. Now we're going to move to some props. So I'm going to turn on my camera here. Oh, it won't work? Oh, yeah, it will. Liar. Okay, so the reason I did that is because I've got a new toy. Who has heard of Rocketbook Wave? Anybody? No one? Really? All right, so what this is it's just a blank notebook. But what's cool about it is you can write on it, and at the bottom of the notebook, there's a QR code, and there's 7 little icons: a diamond, an apple, a bell, a clover, a star, and a horseshoe. You see those? And you see how that one with the X on it is the actual Rocketbook logo. I'll find you one that's not blocked. Right? That arrow, that's the Rocketbook logo. So the way this works is you take some notes. This was actually me not believing that it actually worked the way they said it did, because it's a pretty crazy technology. And you write whatever notes you're going to write, and then you mark where you want it to go. So each one of those 7 icons is linked to something different. So for me, it's the first one is Evernote. The second one is like my email address. The third one is Dropbox. The fourth one is Google Drive. The fifth one is actually my wife's email, because I thought, it might be fun to send her a little love note once in a while. And I don't even think I have anything on the rest. But look at this. You can point them to wherever you want. Yep. Yep. So I'll show you on the app. So this is my iPhone, and this is the Rocketbook app. So if I tap on it, it's going to open up, and it defaults to looking for a document, right? So we're not going to bother looking for a document, but look at this. So I got a new listing over the weekend, and the buyer wanted me to give my staging opinion, and I'm a certified stager. I took a 3-hour class, got certified, and now for 15 years, I get to tell people I'm a certified stager. And I walked her property, and I took a bunch of notes. It says Danny's staging. Living room, deck, kitchen, den, bathroom, bedroom, master closet. And I took a bunch of notes on this written notebook. And then at the end, I made it go to both Evernote and my email. So that's why there's 2 X's at the bottom. The reason I did that is because once I scanned it, I wanted it to be in my inbox so I could just forward it to her, because these are for her. And then I wanted it in Evernote so I had a record of it. Make sense? Yeah, watch this. So now if I go over here, whoa. That's your note, yeah. So what is, there she is, Frisbee. There they are. So she got this via email, and I got it in her folder in Evernote to be forever retained. So now when I go back to her house, I can pull it up on my phone and go, okay, Danny, did you do your homework? Oh, you haven't moved the ottoman yet. That's okay. Let me help you with that, right? It just allows me to not forget any of the advice I gave her and use it like a checklist. Pretty cool. And it happens.
How did it go from the book to Evernote?
That's what I just showed you. It scans it. It scans it. So let me show you again.
You had to use your phone though, right?
Yeah, I can use my phone. I can use my iPad. Hang on, let me.
I mean, you took a scan of that
Right.
scanning
There's
icon or whatever.
the notes, right?
God dang it. How do you shut a... Well, that's what I missed, that you actually used your phone to scan it. That's what the question was, so I got it.
Yeah, so anyway, I can't do that upside down backwards for you. You're just going to have to take my word for it because you can see it on the freaking screen, okay? So the other cool thing, and this is what really blew my mind, is you might be wondering how much this thing costs, and it's only, like 60 pages of notes. So what do you do when it's full? You see this circle right here? That circle is where you place a coffee cup of water. And you see the microwave icon right there? You literally, once it's full, put it in your microwave with a coffee cup of water on top of it, and it'll erase the contents. And you reuse it. And you just have to use a friction pen, which are available at Home Depot or Office Depot. It came with one, yeah, but they're available at Office Depot too. All right, so that's Rocketbook. The last thing I'm going to show you that helps me stay organized, I've already referred to it a couple times, is my iPad. So in our training videos, you're going to see me and Scott refer to bring a notebook to your listing presentation. I use an iPad instead. You can absolutely use notebook. You don't have to have an iPad. The reason I like it is it allows me to take the notes straight into Evernote. But now I could use my Rocketbook and take the notes there and then import them. Either way. But I shoot photos with my iPad. So if you go to the photos section of my iPad, you'll see these are all house photos because I did 3 listing presentations. Friday afternoon I had one, and Saturday I had 2 more. So I got a bunch of photos, and I tell them these are not marketing photos. These photos are to help me remember what sort of things I want to say from a marketing perspective about your home. And I'll take pictures of things I want to highlight. I'll take pictures of things I want them to repair. I'll take pictures of the rooms. And then I can use those for doing our property presentation process. I can use them for anything, but I assure them I don't use them for marketing, because in our listing presentation we talk about how the Wall Street Journal cites that only 15% of brokers use professional photography. And I hammer that point home because we use professional photography on 100% of our listings, and you should too. Does that make sense? All right. So let's look at our agenda here. I think covered everything. Yep. Are there any questions?
Does the tablet work similar or can I use the tablet instead of an iPad? Because that's all I have.
Definitely. Just put Evernote on it.
And then they'll all sync.
Yep. Yeah. That's why I kind of think I was giving Ashley a hard time, but I'll bet you the Windows Phone works just fine because it's a PC environment. Operating system.
Just to let everybody know, when you download Evernote, you get tutorials. They email you. So if you study those, you'll get a better handle of it.
Yeah, and the other thing I should point out is Evernote's free. I have the professional version, so I pay, I think, $40 a year. It's not very expensive.
What is the difference?
I get more storage, and I get the ability to collaborate and share. So you wouldn't be able to share that documents folder to your client unless you use the more expensive version. I think there's other differences, but I don't remember because I've been on the pro version. I got on the pro version like literally within a few months of starting using it. Once I realized how much I liked it, I'm like, I want all the tools. I want everything. No, I share it. Like for those folks, I'm going to share it today. Because when I was with them last night and they signed away, a lot of people, when they sign something, they're wondering, do I get a copy of that? And I don't wait for them to say that. I reassure them right away. I go, I'm going to leave you this folder with the resource kit, the white folders up front. I'm going to take these back to my office and I'm going to scan you copies so that you have them for your records. And they go, oh, okay, cool. Right? Plus you gave them a cancellation guarantee. So even if they had apprehension, they're like, well, once you send it, if I don't like what I read, I'm going to fire you anyway, which they never do. Any other questions?
I want to know, how do you, in the Evernote, the templates,
Mm-hmm.
how do you work around the templates and the today's?
How it works around it? What do you
You say
mean?
something when you put in templates and it will automatically go to today's list.
No, you have to copy the templates. So if I go into templates, let's say it's Saturday morning and I am going to do whatever I do on the weekends. I would just come here to weekend tasks, right click, copy to notebook, and I would copy it to today. What actually ends up happening more often than not is during the week, I think of something that I want to do, but I don't want to do it until the weekend because I don't ever want to take time away from my business during the business day or week. So I'll copy it to today on a Tuesday, right? And then when I go to it, it's right here at the top. I'll put Saturday's date, and then I'll put, pay your quarterlies, right? Or something like that. Actually, I already have that in there, but whatever I'm remembering, I'll add it to my list.
So that like today is when it's Tuesday and you want something.
I want to be reminded of it on Saturday. Yeah.
So you copy that template.
And then
you
look at on Saturday. From 8 to 10 is when I do all that stuff. Every Saturday. 9 to 11. I actually moved it 8 to 10 this week because Janice wants me to present to some group.
So you
Yep.
And that today
I spent one night, but it was fun.
The name of the folder is today,
but it will be on
but it's going to be Saturday. The folder's not time sensitive. I just named it today because I wanted it to be the stuff I should be focused on today. And you'll notice it now has 428 notes in it. So there's a lot of todays in there.
Just leave it there.
Once I do everything that's on the list, I actually have a folder called complete. And
So move them over there.
yeah, where is it? Must be alphabetical. Anyway, I move it to the completed folder.
How about the emails that you have already read and
I don't bother sorting those because they're so easily searched. If I want to save them to Evernote, I'll move them to Evernote. But I don't use a foldering or any sort of archiving because Gmail will just hang on to everything. Right? So I can say from 1/1/2013.
so you mean
Yeah. I don't bother. I don't use a lot of these folders.
oh you do not use
Yeah, I mean, I use some, but I don't worry about it. I tried using Sane Box or whatever, but it didn't help me. Emails? I don't. Nope. Only if they're viruses.
how much
Let's take a look. So you're talking to somebody that never deletes them.
I mean
And no, I'm telling you. Yeah, I said you're talking to someone who never deletes them, and I am at 36 gigs of 100 available. Then I'll delete. Yeah, in Google you can delete date ranges. So I could just say delete everything beyond 2012. Anything I want. Doing a what?
I'm doing the
Uh-huh.
and it says the audition. You're going to audit.
Audit. Yeah.
So
3 years.
3 years. So
Yeah, then you'd be safe. Yeah. All right. So next up, Mr. Crummer wants to talk about the hometown advisor, although he has now left. So, all right, his loss.
I had a quick one if we got a minute. When I save websites as bookmarks,
Yeah.
and then I go to look for them, it's almost like they're not in alphabetical order. I'm completely confused on how to find them and organize all my bookmarks, and I don't know why they don't save like they like when I saved bookmarks in Outlook, or not Outlook, but I guess maybe it was just Explorer I was using. It seemed they were all in alphabetical order and very organized, but with Gmail, when I save bookmarks, it's just like they're everywhere, and I
So are you looking at my
don't know
screen?
how to. Yeah.
So you see this other bookmarks thing? Do you have that? Do we have a bad connection?
No, I muted myself, so let me look.
That's awesome.
I had enough. I heard myself enough.
So look at your browser. Do you have this other bookmarks button?
Not where you're. I can't look at two screens at once. Hold on. I don't know why. For some reason, I'm not seeing my bookmarks all of a sudden. Oh. It's not organized like in that position of yours. No.
If you right click on it, there's a thing called Bookmark Manager. And if you open that, it'll allow you to sort them how you want them, rearrange them.
Okay.
And then what I do is I make sure that the first 6 or 7 are the ones that I want, because they're the ones that'll show up on the bar.
Okay, that's something I never found or used or knew about, so that'll help. And then canned responses, is that an icon that's on every Gmail account?
No, you have to add it through the App Store. But I thought we already showed you how to add it. Do you have this little arrow down here?
I have to open an email to look at that, right? Hold on. I got two windows. I can't look at both, so I'll try to open it up. I don't see it in my inbox when I open up my emails to look at them. Let me look at your screen real quick and see where it would be. I don't even have it set up that way. I don't have my attachments and stuff at the bottom. Oh, you had to hit compose an email, right? Oh, sorry. Okay. I do not see that one, no.
Okay, so go back, close the compose email thing, and go to these 9 little squares in the upper right corner.
Yep.
Click on that, then click on more. And you want to go to I guess it's even more from Google. We kind of shifted around, so let me see if I can find it. Whoa. When in doubt, Google it.
Yeah, they kind of buried Yahoo in the dirt. You know, Yahoo had an opportunity to buy Facebook and Google at one point.
That's funny.
They passed, and now they're worth like 4.45 billion when they were worth 120 billion.
Did you know when they had the World's Fair in Seattle, and they hired, I think it was a Swedish company that did the monorail? They offered to do the entire Puget Sound region for $50 million. back in 64?
Oh,
And the city council said, nah, it's too expensive. And now we're spending like $6 billion to do the same thing 50 years later. So, canned responses, Gmail. Look at that. I'm not the first one to look for it. No, I did not say that. Click the lab tab. Where's labs? Where?
there's one that says Google Apps for Work. Add, I don't know. Lab tabs. Maybe the Google Store?
No, we're looking at how you do it. I'm just not going to do it for you. You're going to do it. Are you able to take it?
Yeah, I'm in my Google looking for lab tabs or labs tab or whatever. All right, I got it. I'll
I'm going to email you
Google it or something.
link. You need to click on the link.
Okay.
Because I am not going to be tech support for you. It'd be different if you were here in the office, because then I could show you on my screen while you're doing it on your screen, but you don't have the ability to look at two screens at once. So
I was following you when you were talking, but yeah, it's all right. Thanks.
cool, man. Well, next time you're in here,
I had a rough chat. I couldn't go to bed. I was like 4 a.m. I was still trying to freaking go to sleep. It was unbelievable.
why? Yubo, you're here. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I have a quick question, but not a little different with this organization.
We're done.
Yeah. So how about if I receive the counter offer from the agent?
Mhm.
So how to upload this to the transaction desk?
We covered that 2 weeks ago. Do you remember that?
No. When I received via email. So from the counter offer, how to upload to the transaction?
I understood the question.
Yes, I know that.
I covered that specifically with you.
No, it's different.
It's not. Remember the Forms tab and the Documents tab?
Yes.
You remember how we went over that?
But it's already in the transaction desk, not in the later the sent from the seller. Okay. If it counter offer,
If it's different, you're gonna have to let me log into your.
it's
MLS.
counter offer again come in. It's not I send it to the agent.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
But I send when I send.
What's your lag ID?
Me?
Mhm.
100115.
115.
Yeah.
And your password?
Okay.
So you're saying it's already in transaction desk?
No. I mean the counter offer not in the transaction desk right now. I received the
You just
counter
said
offer.
it was in the transaction desk after you said you got it via
No,
email.
it's in my phone.
That's all right.
Sorry.
So my answer is the same. Look at the screen. You go to transaction desk, right? Have you created a file or transaction for that client?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to
Yeah.
click on transactions. What's their name? 1428. So I'm going to go into their transaction. I'm going to go to the Documents tab. And I click on the Documents tab. See where it says, I would like to upload documents. You can do a lot of different things, but it defaults to exactly what you want to do. So I click on the arrow, and it gives me the ability to label it. I can call it a counteroffer, right? And then I use this add button to find it on my hard drive. So when it comes to you via email,
Yeah.
save it to your hard drive.
But if
And then once it's on your
only
hard drive,
only a hard drive. Dropbox.
I can do it in Dropbox. I can just save it to my hard drive. I don't even have to save it. It'll be in downloads if I just open it. And then I can upload it to this transaction. And I click this to upload.
No add button. Add button.
No, I just did add to select it. They shouldn't label it add, right? They should say choose file. But add in this context means select the file. And then this means upload. Once I do that, I'm not going to do it because you don't need that, whatever that was. It'll show up right here. You'll have 3 things on this tab once I do that. So then I can go to Authentisign, and I can choose that document. So you just have to upload it to Transaction Desk, then go to Authentisign and send it
So
out.
first, save the account of in the document or Dropbox, right? So first,
Dropbox or your hard drive. Yep.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Do you remember when we covered this topic 2 weeks ago?
Yes. Yeah, I know.
It was the same topic.
Yes, the same topic, but the different source of the document.
You can, if it's a physical thing, I can go to the copy machine, I can scan it to myself and then upload it. But however I get it, I need to put it on my hard drive or Dropbox so that I can pull it into Transaction Desk. But I can pull in any PDF file that I want.
Office open on weekends?
It's open anytime you want it because we have lock boxes after hours if you need them.
Oh, okay. So
There's a code to get into the building, and then there's a lockbox on the post right outside the front door.
Yes. So that is where I can get the key?
Yep. Just make sure you lock it up when you leave. And those codes were in your welcome aboard binder. But if
you change it very often, frequently, or?
No, we've been here almost 5 years. It's changed twice.
Okay.
I can give it to you right now if you want.
So we can come at night, either.
Yeah.
Like 24/7.
Yeah. I don't know why you would want to, but
What do you want to do?
she likes to dress it on all black and tiptoe around. So the front door of the building has a keypad, and that code is 83472. And then the lockbox outside the suite is 0716.
So I get key, I open the door, and I can open the printer to print out something if I need that. Like the HOA document, I probably want to print them out on the reviewing paper instead of just go through a computer.
Yeah. That's one of the benefits of working here. You don't have to burn through a bunch of toner at your own house. You can burn through ours.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I have not done that yet.
Yeah.
Is there any? Did you have any? Oh,
I'm good.
Okay. Did you have any? Have you had any trouble to access to the Dropbox?
Mm-hmm.
No.
You mean like if I didn't have an internet connection or something?
No, I mean if you have the connection, you won't be able to access to
No, actually I can. See this little icon right here? That is a synchronization tool. So if I lost my internet connection, I would still have everything on my hard drive under this tree right here. Right? That is all these green check marks you see on the little folders. Those are all up to date. But if I made a change to it here and didn't have internet access, then it wouldn't show up here. Right? So I'd have to get back to the internet somewhere and synchronize everything. It's constant. Yeah. On your laptop.
So update and then everything in your computer. As soon as you have the internet, they will sync automatically.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you basically have a folder on your computer for Dropbox and OneDrive or Evernote.
I don't have a folder for Evernote.
Why?
Because it's not mapped to my hard drive. It's its own app.
So you don't have that in your computer. Evernote.
Correct. It's all web-based. So if I didn't have internet access, you can make it so folders are available offline, but I don't make every folder available offline. Yeah.
Whenever you won't be able to access the internet, and you won't be able to access the documents.
Yeah, that's documents. I don't have a problem because it's Dropbox.
Hey Ed, it's Marty.
Hey, how you doing, Marty?
Good. Hey, I just wanted to confirm you're going to send those checklists out to everybody.
Yeah, so I got the listing opt-in, the listing going live, and the weekly tasks. Is there anything else you wanted?
I'll keep my weekend organized too.
Okay. You got it, man.
All right, now I got to run. Thank you very much. This is very, very informative.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. Good to talk to you, and have an awesome day. Say hi to Lisa.
Yeah, she's going to give you a call here, set up an appointment with you. She takes her test on Wednesday, so she's ready to go.
Tomorrow, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Awesome. Tell her good luck. I won't congratulate her yet.
Yeah, she'll do fine. I will. I'll let her know.
Do you have,
all right, we'll talk to you later.
An open house sign or something that Ron has? You sure it's not ours?
No, it's just a little plastic open house directional arrow sign. He can hold on to it. It's no big
Why don't
deal.
you leave it here at the office, and that way the next time he's here, he can grab it. He'll leave it here at the office, so whenever I see Lisa or you can grab it.
All right, that sounds great.
Have a good day.
Yep, talk to you later.
Okay, cool.
Are you?
I want you to send it to whomever you got it from. Okay. Don't ask me. It's not my friggin' thing. The open house signs, you give to Michelle. The table probably in the broker back room, where everybody sits. Yeah, so like if you're looking at the back of that office, Miller's office is there, my office is here. On the right is to the right of Miller's is a big room. That's where all the agents sit for making calls or whatever. Cool. Thanks for the help. Yeah, you bet, man. Have an awesome day. Mr. Feichner, did you have a question there?
I just noticed when you were doing your naming convention, they were all in Dropbox. Do you have a preference? Because I have a naming convention that's working for me for buyers and sellers, but I could be better at it. But like naming the folders in the order of counters and stuff. But I put them on my hard drive. But I only have access to those when I'm on my laptop. Is that why you put them in Dropbox, so you can kind of get to them and sync them and all that stuff?
A little bit of that, but it mostly was because of my hard drive crashing. So what I I moved everything to Dropbox so I would never have to worry about that. The other thing that I implemented was I have a peripheral hard drive at home that I sync every weekend. So if catastrophe happened and Dropbox went out of business and my hard drive crashed all at the same time, I would still have at the most a 1 week old backup of my hard drive. So it's just paranoia more than anything else.
So every time you back up, it just backs up the latest and eliminates the other stuff, so you don't have a complete backup. I guess it replaces the old stuff, doesn't it, with newer updated stuff.
Little WD, I don't even know what that stands for, but
40.
Right.
So moving a folder with all your buyers, let's say, from your hard drive to Dropbox, is that kind of a drag? Can you drag it across into the folder so you do it all at once?
Yeah.
Like click on the actual folder and then drag it into Dropbox if it's on your desktop, let's say?
I would just, I'd open 2 of these Windows Explorers, what this folder is called.
Mm-hmm.
And I would, in Windows 10, if you slide a window, any window, up against one side, it'll automatically resize to half the screen. And then it'll minimize all the other windows you have open so that you can just grab the one that you want to take up the other half of the screen. And
Nice.
that's all right. So if I've got everything, maximized, let's say, I can just grab one and make sure I have 2 of them open. Yeah, I can grab one, right? So now it's floating. And if I just slam it into the side, it resizes automatically. I can also slam it into the top or the bottom, or the top, I should say, and that's full size. So I want half size, and then I want to open Dropbox, right? So these are 2 Windows Explorer windows. So what Scott's saying is, hey, what if I haven't copied my hard drive to Dropbox, but I want to? Well, then I can open Dropbox on one side, and then I can go to my hard drive on the other side. Oops, wrong one. Here, right? That's my hard drive. I can literally just hit Control A, and I can drag everything over to Dropbox. I'm not going to do that here because that's not how mine's. I already did that a long time ago. I mean, you can just look at my hard drive. You can tell that I don't save much to it.
Yeah.
And then what'll happen is if you install Dropbox on your laptop, it'll create this little layer or folder so that it looks like a drive.
I think it only comes with, what, 2 gigs on the free version?
I don't know. I know I paid for it, but I don't know how much.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I know I have Dropbox on my laptop. I don't know if it's situated in the drive like you have it over in the drop-down menus. Anyway, all good stuff, man. Organization could save your life for hours a day.
Crummer, you got back on.
Yeah, I don't know why. I had to try like 10 times.
I finished the organizational stuff at 10:15, and I was gonna help you with the hometown advisor. But then you were gone.
I actually have something a little more pressing, so I was
All right.
hoping I could discuss that with you first. I have a transaction going with a buyer, condo in Alki. We had to go. He gets paid. His annual income is from a trust that his parents set up years and years ago. So he doesn't work. So Tim from Axia Loans had to go with like a non-verified bank statement kind of loan.
Okay.
So basically, we did 2 years of bank statements to show that he was consistently getting this amount of money from the trust, and that's what his income is. That's where his income comes from. So a little more difficult loan than just your standard. Even though his credit's good, he doesn't have tax returns that show his income.
I understand.
Okay. So anyway, the lender, sent out the appraisal request to the appraisal management company. The appraisal management company hired this company called Apple or something like that.
Appraisals. Yeah.
Yeah. We had multiple offers on this condo, so it got bid up. So it was listed at 425. We bid 465. The appraiser came back at value,
Okay.
but he didn't use any comps in the building. So the lender came back and said, I don't care if you have to go back 3 years. Can you find us a couple of comps in the building? Well, this building is kind of it's right on Alki Point. It's got like a 270-degree view of the city and the mountains and the sound. So things don't sell very quickly in there. It's only 23-unit complex. So anyway, there was one unit that closed that's identical to this one right above it. The agent bought the unit that had it listed, and she waived her 6% listing and selling fee. So it's sold for substantially less than what it would have gotten if they'd taken one of the multiple offers that they got for it.
Substantially less, or
That was really the only
6% less?
6% less, because she was the listing agent and she bought it, so she waived both sides.
But you said it sold substantially less. 6% is not substantial. Is that?
Well, it was like 25 grand at 425,000.
I'm just trying to understand if it was more than 6% or not.
Okay.
Let's put
so that one
to it. You sold at 465.
Okay.
List price was 425, and the appraisal came in at 465, right?
Without the comps in the building.
And then this gal who waived all her commissions, what did that unit sell for, and when did it sell?
400. I think it was about like 3 months ago.
So that's a comp he should have used.
Yeah, and I don't know why he didn't use it.
It hurt.
And then
that's why.
Well, I know that, but what he was going to do was do adjustments to it to show why it sold for so much less.
Oh, you guys had discussed it, but he ended up leaving it out?
Yeah, and so then the lender came back and said, we need you to find a couple of comps, even if they're 2 or 3 years old. But then he found one that sold like 2 years ago, and then we gave him this one for 400, and we asked him to make comments in there to show the adjustments on there for how long ago it sold, for the reduced in commission. There was multiple offers on the deal. There was multiple offers on our deal, and he left all that stuff out. So we asked him multiple times to try to amend the appraisal so that the lender would accept it at value. And he went MIA. He just disappeared. And for like 4 weeks, we couldn't get a hold of anybody from Apple. So the lender came back and decided to do a desktop underwriting review, and it came in at 425. So that means my client has to come up with 40 grand deficiency.
Well, you can send a rebuttal. There's a mechanism with every lender, and it's actually built into Form 22A. It's called a reconsideration of value. So you're basically going to do what the Apple appraiser guy flaked out and didn't do, which is provide comps and an argument of why these comps are better and point to a higher value.
Right. Okay, so I can do that. Is there a form for that in the multiple?
No, it's a cover letter. And if you want, you could grid it out on a BPO form, which is the same as the appraisal form, Fannie 1004. Is the listing broker cooperative with you?
Absolutely. She wanted to talk directly with the appraiser to give him the information.
So I would work with her
to show why.
I would work with her to compile as strong an argument as possible, and then appeal it. And just let Axia know that you're going to be doing a reconsideration of value, and you would like them to at least consider the data that you're going to provide. Because a desktop doesn't, a desktop never does a home with 270-degree view justice.
Yeah, he's some guy sitting in Texas that's never been to the building.
But he also has a pretty solid comp to hang his hat on. It has the same view, and it's sold for $400,000.
Right, and that's why it hurt us.
Net value would have been $424 if she hadn't waived all the commissions. How do you know it had multiple offers?
Because the other agent knows the listing agent.
The person who bought it.
Yeah, the agent that bought it. So she had multiple offers, and she said, hey, I'm going to throw my kitty in here, and I'll waive all my commissions if you'll take my offer. And she bought it.
But she would still have had to have been the highest offer, so...
I know it wasn't the highest offer. For some reason, they took hers instead of the other ones.
Well,
maybe she was friends with the seller.
It was the highest net, or at least damn near it. Like in a conversation, you might hear, well, no, the other offer was $20,000 higher, but that's not considering that the other offer had a $24,000 commission that had to be paid. Right. But anyway, you and I don't know the facts, so it's not productive for us to try and solve it. But
the listing agent on my deal actually called the other agent that bought the unit above it, and she sent over a copy of her HUD showing that she'd waived 6%, and she also said that she had information on the multiple offer situation on her unit, and we provided that to the lender, and I guess we need to put it in the rebuttal.
Yeah, I mean, I would look at this as we're not going down without a fight. The appraiser didn't do you any favors.
Yeah, because I mean, we have $10,000 non-refundable earnest money that it expires on Friday.
Wow, how did we get to Tuesday?
Yeah, we've already gotten 2 extensions because the appraiser kept resending us the same appraisal without any of the adjustments that we kept requesting, and then it turned out that the receptionist was the one that was trying to adjust the appraised value, do the adjustments on it, because the appraiser went MIA, just stopped returning phone calls.
What
And so finally, the bank came back. This is our 3rd extension.
Do you have a financing?
And the lender finally came back and said, we're going to do this desktop underwriter review, and they came back $40,000 low.
Do you have a financing contingency still?
Because their appraiser dropped the ball.
Do you have a financing contingency still?
Yes.
Then just because the earnest money is non-refundable doesn't mean you're not waiving it. You're not giving it up.
Well, they made it releasable to the seller upon extension.
That's different than non-refundable. Good luck getting it back.
Well, and my client already knew, he was fully aware that might be a possibility. And he's also fully aware that he was going to have to make up the deficiency, but we didn't expect it to be $40,000.
All right, well,
he has the money, but
that's what I would do, man.
Do the rebuttal and see if I can get it up a little bit so we can ease the pain.
At least try and make it less than $40,000.
All right, that was pretty much what I thought you might say, but I didn't know if you had any tricks up your sleeve that I could try to get this moving faster.
Yeah, no, that I would write it today. That's about all that's the only advice I can give you, because it's going to take them more than a couple days to even look at it. But I would give the lender the heads up that you're doing this, so he can start greasing the wheels.
Yeah, I tried. Yeah, I've got to call into Tim right now, and we actually had a 4-way phone conference with the lender representative. And they just keep asking for more time, and it's like, dude, you got to close this loan. They're not going to give us any more extensions.
Nailed it.
So this has just been probably one of the most difficult deals I have had to do.
Yeah, I know that because
And they,
even you and I have been talking about it for a year and a half. I know you worked on it longer than that.
right. Well, and part of my argument with the lender is, it wasn't our choice to go with this appraiser. You went with the, and if he dropped the ball, it's not our fault. So, and by the way, they told me back in April or on July 15th, they told Tim, if you can get all these conditions that we asked for, we will not do a